My slide's not going to be colorful because I created this midnight last night with one eye open, one eye closed. Okay, so if you don't know me, my name is Kevin Bowie. I'm with the University of Pittsburgh Department of Biomedical Informatics, and I'm very grateful to be working with Michelle in her group. Thank you, Michelle. So today I am going to talk about the benefit of developing and testing with I2B2 Docker. And so I've been working on a plugin called OntologyStore, and I've been using the I2B2 Docker for testing and developing. Okay, so I'm going to briefly go over what the OntologyStore is. So the OntologyStore is an administrative tool that enables I2B2 admins to download and install ontologies. As you guys already know, that Michelle is the one who created the ACT ontologies for the I2B2, and it get there. Thank you. So then, it gets distributed with every I2B2 release. So the issue with that is you have to install the ACT ontology manually. So the purpose of this OntologyStore plugin is that you don't have to install it manually. You can just download it and click and install, and it will install for you in I2B2, which is a click of a button. And so what we do is we take the ontology that Michelle built and just package it in a way that the OntologyStore is able to read it and know which table to input the data, the ontologies into. So the OntologyStore consists of two components. The first component is the plugin, which is the front end, the I2B2 web client. So that one, it just shows you the list of ontologies that's available from the cloud, and you can select to download to a local storage location or to install it. And the other component is the backend, which is the ontology cell. It's going to be part of the cell that actually goes to the cloud, fetch it, download to a directory and server, and import it into the database. So side note, this is an admin tool. So if you log in as a regular user, you won't be able to see the tool. So this is a quick flow diagram of the OntologyStore. As you can see, the OntologyStore plugin is installed in the web client, and the plugin talks to the OntologyStore through PM cell. And as you can see, the backend OntologyStore cell points to the cloud and downloads the ontologies into the download directory and import it into the I2B2 database. Okay, I2B2 Docker. So I2B2 Docker simplifies the deployment of I2B2 platform by packaging them into containerized environments. So how is this beneficial to development testing? Well, it speeds up the development process by eliminating the need to setting up your Apache servers to host the web client and Wildfly for the cells, and setting up multiple databases. So in my case, I actually use multiple databases to test the OntologyStore because it has to be imported into the database. And since I2B2 supports 3 vendors, Oracle, SQL Server, and Postgres. So I have to test on all 3 of them. So to integrate OntologyStore into the I2B2 Docker, we replace the existing configuration files and folder in a container via bind mounts. So if you guys ever use, I don't know how many people you have used Docker before. The Docker bind mount maps specific files or directory on a host machines into a container. So the benefit of doing this is that you don't actually have to overwrite the files or add directory directly into the Docker image, because then you have to save it and the image will get big. So you can actually, with doing this mounting in a container, you can actually do this on the fly as you load up the image into a container. So this is an example, a snippet of the configurations that I created in that, what is that? The Docker Compose YAML file. So this is the one for the web client, where, as you can see, the first one, it's in volumes. I override the plugin configuration for my IB2 path, web client plugin JSON, point to my host or my local directory. And in the second one is the one I actually add a directory where the plugin is at in my local computer to the container. And the rest is basically the same. And so, as I mentioned before, Wildfly this is the backend component. So I also mount that. The custom data source file is where you can configure the data sources. And the WAR file is where this particular WAR file has the ontology cells in it. And demo. I have to switch laptop. No, I don't. Oh, they see, This thing. Okay, I think it's working. Okay, good. This is perfect. Thanks. Okay, I'm gonna give a quick demo of the ITB2 Docker with the plugin, with the OntologyStore plugin. Okay, so let me show you the directory, my code base. So it contains, so the structure is basically the same as the ITB2 Docker folder structure. So it contains the folder for MySQL, Oracle, and Postgres, as you see in the repo for ITB2 Docker. So they have 3 folders for 3 different version database. So basically, whatever database you want to run ITB2 on, you just go into that folder and you run Docker Compose up, and it will launch ITB2 web client running on whatever database you select you're in. So I decided to use Oracle. So this is what I have, and as I mentioned before, the Docker Compose is where I do the bind mounts for mapping my local directory in my host machines to the containers. So I created a script called start script. So this one is basically run the ITB2 Docker container and wait for the database to start and run some scripts to insert into the database that's needed for the OntologyStore. So I have that running. I need to move the Zoom stuff. Okay, so this is the ITB2 web client from the launch from the ITB2 Docker. So if as I log in as a regular user, as I mentioned before, since this is an admin tool, you won't find it in the tool sections. So I have to log in as an admin. Oh. Okay, now I can see it in the Docker. So now the plugin is running inside a Docker container. So I'll click on the plugin, and when you see that quick flash here, so basically what it's doing is go to the cloud and fetch the list of all the available ontologies on the cloud, then list it here. So I download one. So let's say you want to download and install demographics, and probably this one. Let's say just download it. And just execute it. And it runs it. And when you see the status, you hit refresh and it gives you the updated status and it tells you to install, and you can see it over here. So you don't have to install right away. You can just download it and you can install later. So right, this one is already downloaded, so I can start now. And execute it. So as you can see, it installed the one that's previously downloaded. So this is what the admin can do to install the ontologies. So as a regular user, they won't able to install, but they're able to see the ontology that the admin installed for them. And someone asked about how do you access this in the database? Yes, you can access this with any SQL tool. So I use dbeaver. And so this is the setting. Where is it? So I pointed to localhost. You can, and this is the name of the database, and obviously it's the default port. And all of this information is actually in the documentations, right? Copy, yeah. So you can take that information and put into your database tool, and you can view it on the database. Next. So I just installed 3 ontologies, and you should see the tables, or 3 act tables for the ontologies that I installed. And that's basically it. Any questions? Thank you. Right. That's yeah. So in this, right. Yeah, as I mentioned before, the benefits of doing this is that you don't have to create a new image, because you have to, obviously you have to use the Docker command for copy, you push it into overwrite the files in the image and stuff, then you have to, commit to save the images. So then you don't have to run it. But the problem with that is that if you dynamically change the directory, you have to change the image. This one, you can just dynamically change it because you're dynamically mounting it in the container. Oh, this, how do I link it? So it's in the Docker Compose YAML. So that's the Docker Compose. That's the configurations for launching Dockers in the Docker Compose. So here's the folder. The resource folder is the folder on my host computer that I'm linking to, that I'm mounting to. So as you can see, this ontology, this is the directory where I mount to, where the ontology can be downloaded to. So it's actually downloaded in the container, but it's onto my local host drive. which is right here. You can see these files are the files that have been downloaded. And this is the folder where the plugin is that gets mounted in the container. So ITB2 knows where the plugin is. So that's how I install the plugin in the web client on the fly.
Where did the big list of plugins available for download and install come from? Is that in there somewhere, or is it on a server somewhere?
The list is actually, okay, very good question. So actually, when I launched this Docker Compose, I did some inserts into the database that has all the information where to fetch the ontologies in the list. So this is gets stored in a Hive cell param table, which tells the, so this is where the ontology cells knows where to fetch. This is the configurations for the OntologyStore to fetch the list. And this is the link to AWS in the cloud that gives you a list of all available products. You download the ontologies and gives you all the information that the ontology plugin can display to the web client, like the title, in the versioning, and it also has a checksum. So when you download, what happens is that sometimes the download can be corrupted, right? The files can be corrupted. So there's a checksum that checks, make sure that the file is not corrupted. If it's corrupted, it will fail. Then you can download again until it has the checksum, verifies the checksum. Anything else? Okay. Oh, and by the way, I just want to thank you, Kavi, and his team for developing the ITB2 Docker. It's a tremendous help for me in developing ITB2 plugins, especially for the OntologyStore, because I don't have to, launch up, create, install 3 different version databases on my Docker, and it's also it makes the process development really easy. I can just go ahead and straight focus on development rather than the tedious, setting up the ITB2 environment. So thank you for that.
I just want to add a comment. So this project began with Sean, mentioning that 10 years ago, mentioning that okay, Docker is something new coming, and maybe it can it can really install I2B2. It can really enhance the vision of I2B2, right? And we began with that, and every year we've had a lot of people, contribute to it. There's Harvey from UCSF, Pralav over the years, and then and Jeff and Mike, and we have actually a working group which meets once a month. It's become more active recently in the last year, and we have this good documentation. But really, the story of you come up with an idea. There are so many ideas which got discussed, right? But Docker allows you to quickly test your idea in a very rapid way, and don't be disheartened. It took 9 years, to have someone, to be really, come into some prominence use. But I think that's the learning in I2B2, that it's really a place where informatics can grow. And I2B2 I feel is kind of that fundamental project which has taken thinking in informatics forward. It's like that Nobel Award winning kind of stuff, which allows the whole community to build and take that next step. Because unless you formalize set of activities in a particular way, I2B2 provides that formalism, and Docker kind of helps you rapidly use that, and it allows you to build new innovations. So I think just thankful for being part of this team, and working over the years. So hopefully it will have a big impact and continue to help the project. So I'm going to have Sean give a few comments on this, the questions that he may have.
All right. Excellent work. Now, it's my understanding that the classic I2B2 is in Docker, so to speak, right, in the 3 containers, but that the pieces of the plugin and of the server-side code is running on your machine.
That's correct.
What if you could put those into a Docker?
Wait, I'm sorry. The pieces that's running the backend, it's all running in Docker. I just point to the ITB2 WAR file that gets deployed by Wi-Fi. So inside the Docker container, Wi-Fi is running inside the container. So I'm just mounting the WAR file where the Wi-Fi can run.
Okay.
So I'm not running anything locally. Everything's running inside a container. So even the PM, the cells, the web client, and the database are all running in the container.
But your software that downloads the data,
The ontology files, yes.
is that inside the container or outside?
It's
Both.
the thing. It's the things that the Docker container does not know that it's outside. The software does the cell, the web client doesn't know, but it is outside.
But it is outside. Okay.
Yes.
Because this is a what if. Yes, Michelle's got it. Okay. What if you put it in its own container? Okay, so what if, so here's the problem, the bigger problem. I2B2 cells. So the vision was, right, that we provide I2B2 cells that can be added to I2B2 easily. That's never happened because it's usually harder to install the I2B2 cells that are being developed by other people than it is to install I2B2 even. It's really, really hard. Okay. So but what if we could wrap new cells in their own container, as Michelle was saying, and then basically the only thing that you would have to do is have a new compose up command, which would say download the 3 main I2B2 containers and the container for OntologyStore, which I think would have to be 2 containers because you need a plugin that would host, not sure, you might need a plugin that would host the web client component too, or maybe you could put them in the same, I'm not sure. That, just don't know enough about your, anyway. But the idea would be that all the complexity of installing your software would be subsumed into a new container. And so it would be as easy to install your software as it is to install I2B2.
So are you saying that I2B2 run in its own container
Yes.
without any modifications?
Right.
Just launch another container that contains the OntologyStore cell, right?
Right.
And have the Wi-Fi communicate to the other cell.
Yes.
I don't know, I never tried that. I think Wi-Fi can communicate over the network, but if it can be easily done because you just basically in Docker, you just put the network name, the Docker network name, and can communicate directly contained inside a container.
Right.
Over the network.
And as you all know from Jeff's presentation, it's just XML that's being communicated between one cell and another. So because it's kind of encapsulated that way, the ability to support the connection, right, would be relatively straightforward. Now, I don't want to speak for you, but about that. And so it could be more. I mean, I don't know. But I'm just saying in theory, right? So one way to realize the vision of, you know, I go to I2B2, there's 28 cells available. You know, you have to have the core 3 like Jeff was showing you, and then I want to pick these 6, the genomic one, the OntologyStore, the RedCap connector, and something. And then jupe, all 4 of those get downloaded with the other 3, spun up through Compose Up, and you're good to go.
That's a really good idea. Our initial intention wasn't to containerize the plugin, but that would be good if we want to distribute it as a containers and people can try it and then download it and then install into ITB2.
I love your pointers to your local machine, even no matter how,
Right.
still you like configuration stuff and all, unique things that are for your, so you need something that points right to your,
Right, this is for
Yeah.
for development and testing purposes, yes.
but like, let's say somebody customizes their web client headers and all that kind of thing, right? You want that not to be, wiped away when you get the new container. And
Right,
so for the web client, so, if you can use that mechanism to kind of keep hold on that.
right. So even if the container gets shut down or delete, and you launch a new container with the image, the files, those data are still there in your host. But if you put in a container, it might be gone once you shut down the container. I mean, once you delete the container.
Right, Kevin, yeah,
Shut down, you just always can start up. But if you delete the container, then you
right,
might get erased, right?
yes. All right,
Thank you.
very nice.
Appreciate it. Thank you.